Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge in financial freedom. Today, I've got two articles that kind of go together. One of them is about a bank in Wyoming who has now got regulatory clarity on the assets that they can hold in custody for people. And then one of them has to do with Texas and a guy who decided he was going to cheat on his taxes, which we all know that we shouldn't do that. Don't cheat on your taxes. Just pay your taxes because they will come after you. This man got 2 years in prison for cheating on his taxes, and they now are saying that he has to give over the keys to all of his Bitcoin. And this is a Satoshi era wallet with millions of dollars in it. So we'll dive into those articles after we dive into our beginning wrap up. We do have the stock market, which is closed today in memorial of Jimmy Carter, who passed away this past week. We did close kind of neutral for our big seven. We did have some outlying closes in our tech sector, but for the most part, we closed pretty neutral, and we'll have to see how the pre-market does tomorrow morning as we get some heavy data for the day right before that market opens. We did have Apple, which closed up 0.2%. We've got Nvidia, which closed pretty much neutral, down 0.02. Got Berkshire Hathaway sitting down 0.24%. We've got Amazon sitting down 0.1. We've got Eli Lilly up quite decently, up a 1.8%. We've got J&J, on the other hand, sitting down quite hard, down 2.71%. We've got ExxonMobil, which is sitting down 1.67. They did get some underwhelming crude oil stock information from yesterday, which caused a bit of a sell-off on that. We do have Tesla sitting neutral as well, sitting up 0.15%. We've got Microsoft sitting up 0.52%. We've got Google sitting down 0.67, and wrapping it on out, we have Meta sitting down over 1%, down 1.16. Crypto is looking pretty red for the morning. We do have a few outliers in that top 10, and one outlier in that top 10. The other stable coins, that was my bad. Took a quick glance as I said that. Got Bitcoin sitting down 1.66%. Ethereum sitting down 0.77. Got XRP sitting down 2.93%. Looks like it is now underneath Tether again for market cap, which it made a brief appearance above Tether for quite a while, and is looking to try to reclaim that as we get the next pump up and kind of hold that spot as well. You do have BNB, which is that outlier in your top 10, is sitting up 0.62%, which you do see quite a lot in BNB. When the rest of the market drops, it is able to retain some of that resiliency because of its exchange. You have Solana sitting down 3.45, Cardano is down 4.06, Dogecoin sitting down 3.66. We've got Tron sitting down 2.35, Avalanche down 2.04, Sui getting hit extra hard, down 6.23%, Ton sitting down 1.58, Chainlink 2.72 down, and Shiba Inu down 0.89. We do have a few other outliers outside of that. In the top 25, Litecoin is sitting up at 2.36%, and we've got one other project sitting up quite nicely, and that's Leo, and that is up 0.52% while the rest of the market is red. For the economic calendar, we don't really have any heavy data coming out today. We do have a few Fed chairs speaking, which will be nice after we got some clarity from the FOMC minutes, which I will break down a little bit later. We do have a speech coming out of England for the Bank of England, giving a speech the same way that our Fed chairs are, and it's kind of nice. They are ahead of us in our rate cutting cycle to see what they might be looking at doing for this year, as they are about 4 months ahead of us in their rate cutting cycle. We also have some information coming out of Japan that will be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's going to be household spending month over month and year over year. This will kind of bode into their rate hike decision. They've been pretty close-lipped on what they are looking at doing going into this next year for their first decision. But when you're seeing household spending month over month coming down, household spending year over year coming down, while inflation pressures are ticking up, and their job market is not any better than ours, you can kind of see that they might hike rates, especially considering that they are so low. There's only so much expansion you can get off of these low rate cuts before you're going to low rates before you're going to have to cut again, and you can't cut below zero, and they're only sitting 25 basis points above zero. All right, let's dive in to our fear and greed and then liquidation heat map. We do have the stock market sitting at 32 and fear. No big change on that. We did close pretty neutral, so it is nice to see no change as we are reclaiming some of the losses that we had seen in the beginning of the week. We do have crypto sitting down a point, 69 and greed, as we're getting more of a cool off in things. We are waiting for some of those bottom side targets. I did have a poll in chat asking if we'll see sub 90k Bitcoin in January, which I have my own thoughts. I see that about 86% of the people agree with me so far, and that's we will see some sub 90k Bitcoin before we really get that bounce out of the range. Go ahead and vote in that if you have not. We've got our 24-hour liquidation heat map looking kind of hot for the top side. We peaked out at about 95,762 yesterday, and that's where all the liquidity is residing for that 24-hour liquidation. If you zoom it on out just a little bit, take a look at that 3-day, you can kind of see that's all going to be closer to the top side of the range when we peaked out at 103,000 before quickly reversing price and coming back down below that $100,000 mark. You do have a light hot spot sitting at 97 and another one right below here at 99,000 as well. If you zoom that on out to the 2-week, kind of get a broader range of things, you can see we have the liquidity residing at the extremes, the high and the low. The low is something I've talked about for quite a while. If we do come down to that 91,100 mark where that liquidity is residing, also as well as our platinum pocket, I do think we might see a little bit of a wick below that to kind of grab up the rest of the liquidity that is residing down here almost at that 90,000. Comes right down below it, 90,300. Might as well grab all the liquidity if you're going to come down there. For that 1 month chart, you can kind of see, as I had shown the other day, that we do have that hot spot to the bottom side of us and nothing really to drag us a whole lot further. We don't have any order blocks sitting below that either, so if price does come a whole lot lower, it might be a little bit scary, and that's something Piper has talked about too. I'm thinking we will see a bit of a bounce here after we find this bottoming point, and I don't think we go a whole lot lower. I will show that on my Bitcoin chart here in a second. Let's say hello to the chat real quick. I did see a bunch of people in here this morning, and I appreciate every single one of you for showing up today. Let's pull up that Bitcoin chart before we say hello to the chat. We've got Randy, Randy a bite in here saying good morning, good morning. Darren does things saying good morning as well. We've got All Set in here saying good morning, BC and fam. We've got Jesse Gulak saying good morning with a coffee cup. And it looks like that's about it for now. If there's anyone lurking, feel free to say good morning in the chat. We appreciate every good morning we get. I see Crypto Conspiracy saying, what's up, fam? Good morning, Crypto. Oh, Conspiracy Crypto. Hope you're having a great morning so far. All right, I've got this Bitcoin chart pulled up. Let's zoom on out to that 1 day look. As you can kind of see, I've been focusing on the higher term time frames because there's a lot of pressure to the bottom side on your higher term time frames, and we're battling that on some of these lower term time frames. We come down to 92,000, we get that quick bounce to the upside before we really reject off of the golden pocket here. As you can kind of see, we got a quick wick above it before really dragging back down below that golden pocket, which is what I've said. If we don't hold this golden pocket, we're going to go lower. And that golden pocket has been a point of contention over and over again. We do get solid bounces off of it for candle bodies here on the higher term time frame with wicks below it. And when we're unable to maintain that, we really drop hard below that. That 382 is that other point of contention that we're going to have to deal with once we get above this golden pocket. But for now, we're focusing on that golden pocket, and that's that 94,700 range. And as we lose it, I'm looking for that bottom side sweep of liquidity sitting right above that 90,000, which is also right around that platinum pocket. That's going to be that 91,000 mark where all of that liquidity resides. We do have a bit of a point where we could see a bounce below that if we do hit, because that is the liquidity does reside below that platinum pocket there. And with our red liquidity on our daily, with our prime oscillator and MACD both looking pretty bearish for our daily time frame, I would look at that grab of liquidity and a little bit of a drop below there to about that 88,700, and maybe the bottom side where we got that other bounce at 86,900. There also is a bit of an order block in this range as well, which could bode well for some buying pressure coming back in. You will see a lot of institutional buying in that range as well, which does bode well for price resiliency to keep us out of that 77,000 mark and closing that giant CME gap that we've left open. I did see username in chat this morning and French Toaster. Good morning, good morning. Hope y'all are having a great day today. Let's see. The salmon shirt brings out the darkness of the beard. BC, well played. This is actually a light red. The lighting kind of messes with things. I need a bit of a yellow lighting to bring out the natural complexion of my skin. So it kind of messes with some of the colors I got. But I did see username saying Boston sucks again, and I know that's to French Toaster, but I still agree that the Boston Red Sox definitely suck. We have Arsan246 saying good morning, good morning. Hope you're having a great morning so far. If you looked into any of those nuclear stocks that I dropped into the Discord for you, let me know your thoughts on those, and I can bring up that list for the rest of the people as well. I have that pulled up in the background. I know you'd asked about it during the show, and I can kind of touch on some of that today if I have some time. We did see the daily liquidity looking red, but it is moving kind of sideways, looking to kind of slow down on that. But it's looking like we might get a little bit of some more upside pressure on that daily here. The 4 hour is looking kind of nice to get to a point where we could see that actual bottoming signals coming in. You do have a little bit of curvature here on your prime oscillator for the 4 hour. No reversal signals yet, no oversold signals yet either. So that's really what we're going to start looking for as we reach a little bit lower. We might make that little push back up to the golden pocket again before really hitting that nice downside move on things. Bitcoin and crypto is going to be the main thing traded in the US today, so you might see a little bit more volume in the market today as the TradFi side of things is closed. We are ticking a little bit lower on our selling pressure for the 4 hour, but not looking like any rescuing is coming for our higher term time frames just yet. We do have the curvature on our prime oscillator with that light red on our indicator line, but with no reversal signals and no oversold signals. It does look like more downside could be heading our way. This platinum pocket is going to be that next point I'd look at, and that's that 91,000 range. You do have the 1 hour looking a bit the same. You've got it ticking just like green on some of this liquidity, and has that first reversal signal, but with some of the downside pressure we are seeing, I would look at it coming back down, especially since it's just a light green on that liquidity. We've only got a reversal signal and not a stacking up of our oversold signals like we saw back here. And even then, we ignored those. So those don't always play out, especially when you're not seeing a bunch of reversal signals also flashing and you don't have the confluence on our real nice bouncing point. You do have all of that liquidity which is residing to the bottom side of us, which is really going to be that downside pressure. Those market makers really want to grab it. I see K Diggity in here. Good morning, K Diggity, and Jay Violet as well. Hope y'all are having a great morning so far. Let's take a look at that 15-minute to kind of see what the morning might bring us for that Bitcoin price action. As you can kind of see here for the 15-minute, we did that oversold signal, flashed twice. You got a reversal signal here. And as we've been moving up on our prime oscillator as well as the MACD, we're not really moving up in price. This is more of just a cooling off on some of your selling pressure, which really signals that there might be some more downside heading our way as we're really struggling to move up too high. You've got some higher lows here and making higher highs, but it's nothing too extreme, which we might see that quick move to the upside to our golden pocket before we really see that rejection to the bottom side. We are waiting on some of these reversal signals to now flash on the top side, especially as liquidity is red and ticking up on the 15-minute as well. All right there. Let's ask the chat for some alt requests. I do have plenty of time for the morning after I dive into some of these news articles that I had pulled up. I don't have any TradFi things that I would like to look at because the market is closed today. I was going to take a brief look at the Dixie. That was about it, because that Dixie is right at that point where we're going to see things really change in direction for it. We're right at a resistance mark and looking to see kind of how the 10-year and the 2-year are being bought up on those bonds as we get our data coming into Friday. I did see Adam requested by username. We've got Adam. And any other alt requests, just drop those in the chat for me. Let's hop in to this first news article that I had pulled up, and that was about a bank in Wyoming, and that's going to be Custodia Bank. Custodia Bank achieves SO2 Type 2 compliance certification. Custodia Bank, a crypto-friendly Wyoming-based bank, has achieved a major milestone in security controls by obtaining certification as a system and organization controls 2 compliant bank. On January 8th, Custodia Bank announced it had achieved the SO2 Type 2, adding to its earlier milestone of completing the Type 1 audit. The SO2 is a cybersecurity compliant framework by the American Institute of Certified Public Accounts that provides an audit and report on organizations' internal security controls. The main goal is to assess a service provider's capacity to safely store and process clients' data. It is a major certification for technology companies. Founded by Bitcoin advocate and investor Caitlin Long, Custodia is a state-chartered bank focused on digital asset banking, payments, and custody solutions for U.S. commercial customers. It is unusual for banks in the U.S. to obtain an SOC 2 certifications, which Custodia has done, and only a small number of U.S. banks typically seek them, Custodia Chief Executive Caitlin Long said. But as the gold standard for technology company security controls, SOC 2 Type 2 certifications are critical for serving the most tech-forward clients. Custodia is proud to have obtained both the Type 1 and Type 2 certifications. Custodia Bank, which has battled for traction in the banking space despite a challenging regulatory environment, said in its announcement that the SOC 2 Type 2 certification showcases its commitment to data security. The certification reflects the bank's dedication to the highest security standards as well as its focus on availability and confidentiality. Custodia sued the Federal Reserve in June 2022 over complaints related to its application for a master account with the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City. A master account allows the bank to directly access the Federal Reserve rather than going through intermediary banks. Custodia lost the initial lawsuit in March 2024, but filed an appeal. And this is something that I have some positive thoughts about, but my overall sentiment is, with the adoption that we're going to see by your mainstream and your grandma and your uncles and the rest of the people that we want to see in the crypto space, this is what they're going to be drawn to. But as we see other things happening in the crypto space, it does give me some concern. The whole point of crypto is that you are your own bank. You do take control of your own money and no one can take that from you. And this gives me some worry about what you might see. Are these banks going to end up handing over your crypto keys if asked for by the government? Because that's what the normal bank does. If the government asks for your money from the bank and they have the right legal authority to do so, that bank hands over the money. And that gives me some concern about what crypto was originally intended to be. Crypto was a debanking system, and I know it hasn't really seemed like that's the whole point of crypto right now. We're all in here to kind of make some money, and it is a way for us to invest. But I originally got in here as a debanking. It was a way for me to have control of my own money that no one can take from me. And as we see more mainstream adoption, some of this is getting taken away. And you do need some of these centralized entities to push through regulation and to kind of steer the ship on things, but it also takes away from crypto's original sentiment. I did have another article which ties into this, which really makes me have that worry for things. So we'll dive into that here in a second after I take my drink of coffee. Gotta recaffeinate for the morning. We've got Texas investor order to submit keys to 124 million Bitcoin fortune. A Satoshi era Bitcoin buyer must surrender crypto keys to his $124 million stash. A Texas court ruled following a landmark conviction last year. U.S. District Judge Robert Pittman has ordered early crypto investor Frank Richmond Algan III to turn over private keys to his Bitcoin wallet and any other relevant digital asset storage devices. Private keys are an encryption system that safeguard crypto wallets, giving the holder full access and control. Judge Pittman's order also blocked Algren and any of his proxies from moving cryptocurrencies or concealing digital assets from the court. Although Algren can finance his monthly living cost with crypto, the court's decision is aimed at unlocking approximately 124 million in digital assets attributed to Algren and recovering 1 million in court-approved damages, according to Bloomberg. Algren's Bitcoin tax fumble. Algren's name has become synonymous with the first U.S. crypto tax evasion case. Following his formal sentencing in late December, federal prosecutors issued a 7-charge indictment against the BTC investor, alleging he falsely reported capital gains from a 3.7 million Bitcoin sale and deliberately evaded taxes. According to the Department of Justice, Algren, also known as his alias Paco, tried to hide his blockchain footprint using sophisticated financial tactics. While Bitcoin blockchain is public and immutable, some protocols allow users to obscure their transactions to a degree. The DOJ emphasized in a statement at the time, after a lengthy investigation and months-long trial, a Texas district court sentenced Algren to 2 years in prison. And this is part of my concern with things. If the U.S. government ends up asking these banks for your crypto keys, there's no one to kind of stop them. And yes, I know he cheated on his taxes and he got caught on it. Most people are going to get caught on that. The government wants their money and they'll let you drag it out and drag it out and drag it out until you're so far in debt with them that they can basically just have you in debt with them for the rest of your life and tax some interest on that. Username, I thought taxes was optional. Yes, they say it's optional, but don't pay them and see what happens. And this is what happens. You have someone that is now sitting in prison for 2 years for not paying their taxes, and they want the keys to his whole crypto fortune. And if you have centralized regulatory beings like a bank holding your crypto, they're going to hand over those keys. And these are the things that give me some worry, especially since I believe crypto is about debanking and having control of your own money. And it's looking like the direction it's heading is kind of looking the same like the TradFi markets, which is all what we're all trying to escape from. We'll just have to see how this plays out going into the future, because we're going to see more regulatory clarity heading our way, especially under the new administration being extremely crypto friendly, and we're going to have to see how that plays out, how they regulate keys. Are these going to be a private asset that the government is unable to obtain unless you have real heavy crimes against you, or if it's tied up in like a RICO case, something like that, or if they're just going to be able to tell you, hand me your keys, and you have to hand over the keys, or they'll come take them. Or if you're using a bank, or if you're using Coinbase, they just hand that on over to them. Let's see. I did see a few alt requests. We've got STX, STX. We've got CELR, and let's see, AMP as well. I did see one other one, ATH. We'll have to take a look at that as well. If there's any other alt requests, just go ahead and drop those in the chat for me. Let's see. If you thought governments were not going to gain control your cray, well, it really just kind of depends. If you're talking with crypto, what kind of regulation we're going to see on things. I do think that there is some parts where you might see you have a little more privacy on your money. You are going to have to pay your taxes on it, and they might try to peel back the curtain a little bit and look a little harder into some of these things. But my concern is the actual access to your crypto. They are trying with Bitcoin, and they're not doing amazing at getting some of this Bitcoin from people. The most Bitcoin that they've seized has really been from like Silk Road and things like that. And we're just going to have to see what kind of access they are going to get to your normal, everyday person's crypto. And that's what I'm more concerned about. In 20 years, it'll be like TradFi, says username. I see Alex O Crypto in the chat. Hope you're well, homie. Hope you're having a great morning as well, Alex. We'll see you in the chats on your show here in about 30 minutes. I appreciate you showing up. Jay Violet saying, it's bedtime soon for me. Yes, it is. I'm surprised you're still up for these early morning shows, because it's kind of late in Australia over there. You have to know who you are and how to defend yourself from the IRS, says Conspiracy Crypto. Most definitely, and that is a big part. They do have a lot of laws going into things, and this is where we do have a partnership with Ernest. I believe his link is in the description of the video, and he is a tax professional as well as a lawyer on things. So he can definitely help you walk the line on the crypto side of things as well as the rest of it. The IRS is a strong government agency who has no qualms with coming after your money and putting high interest rates on things that is really hard to get out from under. So it's better to just do it right the first time, and take full advantage of any discounts that you might have. And navigating that can be kind of hard. All right, let's start diving in to some of these alt requests after I take a quick look at the Dixie. I did talk about this 109.35 range that I'm looking for the Dixie to claim and turn into some support. It is a range that we haven't been in quite a while. That is that hourly chart. Let's zoom it on out to the daily, and you can kind of see here it's been a while since we've been there. Back in 2022, in fact, we are looking to reclaim levels that we haven't been at in years. And as you've been seeing, the Dixie against other currencies doing quite nicely. Like Japan, we're at 7-month highs for. You've seen the euro really losing against the dollar. You will see the Dixie get that climb up. You've got your prime oscillator looking like it's cooled off a bit for that daily chart as we've continued to move to the upside. It is light red and getting that curvature back to the upside as a money flow is coming back into the dollar. If you zoom that in to the 4 hour, you can already see that our money flow is nice and green. It is rolling over just a little bit as we are at a heavy resistance point. And we're looking to really turn this platinum pocket here into some support. Or is that, no, that's the 236. I don't know why my colors are different on this Fibonacci retracement, but that is that 236 there that we are looking to turn into some support. That's that 108.74 before we really reclaim this 109.35 as a next climbing point for the dollar to launch off of. You do see the 4 hour getting some rollover on the MACD as well as our prime oscillator, but our money flow is very solid and green here on the 4 hour. Zooming on in to that 1 hour, you're already seeing some of that play out as the money flow is on some outflows here, right on the hourly, just a light red for now, looking to kind of get that roll back over into the green as we do see this reversal signal kind of being ignored as well as the divergence not really playing out. Your MACD is also getting that move kind of sideways, so looking for some more movement in the dollar back to the upside after we get a bit of some cooling off here. Lunar Beaches Crypto in here saying I don't work today. Hope you have a great day off, Lunar Beaches. Do you have some time to like make a quick guest appearance if you want to do that? I definitely have some time to run a little bit longer. I don't work either. But that's nothing new. I've been off for the winter. You don't move dirt when the ground is frozen. All right, I had some of those alt requests here, and let's hop into Soul first. It was requested yesterday, and I did not have the time to take a look at that. Let's zoom that on out from the 15-minute and back to our daily. As you can kind of see here, we are back in a fair value gap. Lunar Beach is saying it's 19 degrees. How is it warmer here than it is down there in Tennessee? It's 20 degrees here. But yesterday was 5 degrees, and I didn't want to go anywhere. I stayed in bed and stayed under like 3 different blankets and just watched some Netflix and didn't do a whole bunch after the mornings. So we are back in our fair value gap for Solana. This was pulled from our 4 hour. If you zoom that on in, you can kind of get that better gauge there on. Oh no, it was from the daily. That was that daily view. And that's from this whole move down from back here in November and all the way up to our candle body here on November 13th. So a few day move, but really looking to reclaim some of these levels and see the buying pressures here. We do have our golden pocket for our fib retracement, which has been a nice key area of support here back here in December. On December 23rd, we got that clear bounce off of the golden pocket, and it looks like we might get that retest here. You do have your money flow, which is kind of red, looking like it's moving kind of sideways. And your prime oscillator is ticking back down. It is in the red. Your MACD is getting that rollover as well, looking to cross the indicator line on the bottom side of things. So not looking amazing here on our higher term time frame for Solana. and really looking to see what that bottoming point is. We do have a strong line of resistance that we have broken through and never really turned into some support. So if we do come to the bottom side of this fair value gap, I might see if after losing that golden pocket, I might look at that bounce on our trend line back here and see that platinum pocket kind of come into play. That's 156.51, and we're just going to have to see how that daily liquidity sits for Solana going into our our data drop for Friday. I think that is going to be the big market mover, and I think it might bode a little negatively for some of these bottom side price targets that people haven't really wanted to see. So let's zoom that on in just a little bit. Take a look at that 4-hour chart. As you can kind of see here, we're getting a bit of a reversal signal from back on the 50% line on our fib retracement, and some oversold signals as well that are completely getting ignored. You do have the prime oscillator, which ticked to light red, and the MACD, which is getting a bit of some curvature here on the bottom side of things, but our money flow is still nice and red here. It is slowing down a bit as we've approached the 50% line on our fair value gap, and potentially looking for a short-term bounce before we try to reclaim that 50% line on the fib, which I don't think holds, and we end up coming back down to that golden pocket. Let's zoom it on in just a little bit more. Take a look at that hourly chart here. We've got liquidity sitting light green as we've been continuing to make that move to the downside. Your prime oscillators getting a bit more curvature to look back down on things as it's light red here. No oversold signals on the hourly yet with that reversal signal, so not looking too strong on the reversal. You do have your MACD, which is very close to that indicator line, so really looking like that bottoming on the hourly could come here kind of soon as we come up to some key levels, and that would be either that 187 and the midline of our fair value gap, or the bottom side 179, where we're seeing that golden pocket for that bounce up and kind of see where we are able to maintain. And we've got the 15-minute looking pretty bearish for the morning. We've got your MACD looking to cross the indicator line on the bottom side of things. Got that pretty nice curvature, as well as our money flow looking extremely red here, as we're seeing that same curvature on our prime oscillator. No top end signals just yet for a reverse back to the bottom side, but as you've made this move down with price action, you have seen this quick cool off of our prime oscillator, and really looking to drag things back down. Looking pretty bearish for the market kind of in general. We do have some more talk about Australia. We've got great whites will get you here. Oh no, I stay out of the ocean. I'm not an ocean person. I will sit on a beach. That is fine. But getting in the water is not really my thing. Jesse Gulak saying because of the alligators. I'm not sure what that comment would. Oh, I wouldn't recommend going overboard in the water. Oh, that's what that one was too. Australia's just too dangerous. I will take a quick visit, but I will stay in the car. Bringing up the kangaroos again. Lunar Beach is saying all box-a-roo. Well, I would like to see that on video there, Lunar Beaches, because that's a thing I wouldn't even do. I know I would get my butt whooped all kinds of ways to Sunday by a kangaroo. They can sit on their tail and basically just claw you with those back paws as they're like kicking you super far. It's just scary. And plus those front claws, when they will tear you up. A kangaroo is a scary animal. They look fascinating, but I would want to keep my distance. We've got Solana cleared off the list. Let's take a look at Atom. That was also requested because username likes to take a look at things that we don't take a look at often. Got Atom here in my favorites. It's been a little while since I've taken a look at Atom. It hit some nice topside targets, and I got out and was waiting for some bottoming on Atom. It's got plenty of time for some movements here. Let's extend those lines to the right so we can kind of get that gauge there. You did have that rejection off of our platinum pocket on a retracement. Here, as we've continued this downtrend, there is lower highs, lower lows. Again, getting that brief bounce up. It looks like a three wave, and we really got a continuation to the downside. We did hit some of my bottom side targets here at $4 before we really got that push back up to our platinum pocket here, and we're really waiting to see if we're going to come all the way back down there. You do have the daily looking pretty bearish, just like the rest of the market. And if you believe in Atom over the long term, which I do think, as you see some of your people come back into the market and seeing the projects that they bought being extremely low on things, they might buy those projects up again. Atom was one of those ones that made me some decent money last cycle, as well as ADA and Bitcoin Cash. These are the projects that you will see your retail investors looking at as they come back into the space. I would look at some of these bottom side targets at about $4 here. You do have another little bouncing point where you could see at about $5, as we've seen that be a point of resistance and support here. It is looking like we're going to drag a bit further here. Money flow is pretty red on the daily. You do have some divergence stacking up to the bottom side, looking like we're seeing the prime oscillator hitting kind of hard here for a move to the downside, and waiting for that MACD to kind of follow here. It is very close to our indicator line and looking to cross on the bottom side here on the daily, which doesn't really bode well for longer term price action. Jay Violet saying, I eat kangaroos. Is kangaroo meat good? I don't think I've ever intentionally eaten kangaroo meat. I did see a thing back when Jack in the Box had closed in my state that they were apparently serving kangaroo meat in their burgers, but I don't know if that is true. So just let me know how that kangaroo meat is. I might come to Australia just to eat a kangaroo. That sounds kind of nice because I do like alligator and I do like crocodile, and those are pretty good meats. It's a little chewy, but it's got great flavor. Lunar Beach is saying, I won't mess with crocs because they're literally dinosaurs. They're great eating though, Lunar Beaches. So I would definitely hunt a crocodile to eat my own croc. So koalas are dicks apparently. I don't know anything about that. They look so cute. I would totally like to see a koala in person. Kangaroo, I feel like, is the deer of Australia, but our deer don't punch and kick. I beg to differ, K. Diggity. I have seen a deer punch someone in the face. He got a little too close, and the deer just got on the offensive. It wasn't mama deer, so that probably plays a factor into things. But deer can be aggressive if you tread on their territory and there are their young around. They will box. They don't really do a whole lot else. But deer are cute. They aren't known for boxing though. But a deer will definitely punch someone. Let's zoom it on in on Adam. Take a look at that 4-hour chart here. We do have a bit of some curvature on your MACD, looking to kind of hit that cross to the top side of things, seeing a bit of resilience here. But I would kind of look at us faltering here on the bottom side as we do get the curvature back above our indicator line for our 4-hour, as our daily is kind of looking so bearish, and our money flow is looking very bearish here on the 4-hour as well. You do have some oversold signals as well as a reversal signal. You're still sitting light red on that prime oscillator though, which kind of bodes well for some more continued downside pressure, especially with the money flow looking so red. It's looking just like we might cool off a little bit before we continue that bottom side pressure. Lunar Beach is saying the same thing. Oh yeah, deer here can be aggressive. Yes, they don't play with their young, and if you tread on their territory, they have no quarrels with throwing a little antlers your way or throwing a few hooves. They can be quite aggressive, especially when it comes to their young. Chicken piri. I'm not sure what that one. Oh, Arsan saying kangaroo tastes like chicken. I'll have to take your word on that, and then I'll have to take a trip to Australia just to see if that is true. All right. And as we zoom it on in to that 15-minute to kind of gauge what the morning might bring us, it is looking pretty bearish. You do have your money flow, which just rolled over from a light green from a quick bounce on things. Let's zoom it on in there so you can see that 15-minute just a bit better. As we've gotten our moves just sideways, and our prime oscillator has kind of moved up, and our MACD has moved up, it looks like just a brief cool off on some of the selling pressure. Really looking at that rollover on the prime oscillator for the 15-minute with our money flow going back bearish, kind of bodes that we might see some of those downside targets I was talking about. That's that $5 point, and we do have some other points along the way which we could kind of see some resiliency at about $6.03, and again down here at about $5.82, and to kind of see where we might see some buying pressure come in, and a brief breath breathed of relief on that price action before we continue that move to the downside. I see maybe a band-aid in here saying morning chat. Good morning, maybe a band-aid. We have Jesse Gulek saying, what, LBC? I had a deer attack my car while driving once. Totaled the car. Yes, they do that quite a bit. They will he said, I mean, he ran right into my car. I consider that an attack. Well, I have seen deer straight jump into cars. So, yeah, they're known for that. They get a little scared, and instead of trying to run away, they jump at the thing that's traveling 65 miles an hour and completely total cars. The worst part of that is they jump. So instead of going into the front of your car and being all safe, they go through windshields instead, which makes it extra dangerous. So we had this scout that had made it through like 5 deer collisions. They don't build them like they used to. That is definitely for sure. I had a 1992 Subaru Legacy that hit 2 different deers and still ran like a champ. It just had like a little bit of a dent in the hood, so we popped open the hood and we just kicked out the dent and we closed the hood, and it was kind of fine. It didn't look pretty, but you know, it looked better than it did before the deer hit it. The windshield was like completely cracked. change that sucker out, and we were good to go. The headlights still worked fine, even though that took out the legs of the deer. Just replaced the housings, and good to go. Yeah, they don't make cars like they used to. All right, let's take a look at another alt request. We had Adam, and let's take a look at stacks. I know it should be in my favorites. If not, it's in my, there it is, in my extras. Let's zoom that on out to our daily look. I've got about 5 more minutes there. As you can kind of see here, like near from the other day, we had a strong support line that we are now breaking below. We did get some wicks below it here, and a brief wick below it here, but for the most part we saw the candle bodies really touch on that line before we got that move back to the upside on things, and we have now broken below it on stacks, especially with that daily looking like the rest of the market quite bearish, as our prime oscillator is red pointed down, your money flow is red, looking like it's gonna slow up here for a brief second though. MACD looking to cross that indicator line on the bottom side of things, and your indicator line getting that curvature back down to the bottom side as well. Looks pretty bearish for stacks on our higher term time frames. You do have a few points where you could see some resiliency, where we've got some bounce in here at $1.30, and again back here at about $1.06. It could drag all the way down to that clear dollar point, where you'll see a lot of buying pressure there. Really going to have to see where this money flow starts coming back in, because the daily is looking a bit bearish on things, and we're gonna have to wait to see where that money flow ticks back in on things. There's that also $1.25 point where we see another little bounce, but other than that, there's not really a whole lot to hold us up. There's a lot of negative space here as we're breaking down. Let's zoom that on in to the 4 hour, kind of see where we're sitting on that. The money flow is red, slowing down though, so that is something nice to see on things, as we're getting some curvature on your MACD to try to reclaim that indicator line on the bottom side. Your prime oscillator is still sitting light red, as we are getting that move sideways, and the reversal signal shown kind of not looking too reversey. Not seeing any heavy oversold signal shown, so looking like this support line that we had been able to maintain for quite a while might hit as a rejection point as we're coming into that golden pocket. We did see Dave Digital saying good morning. If you're in SoCal, my heart goes out to you, but for real, I'm glad I'm not. Wow, just wow. And that has been a thing all over the news, and it is quite concerning. It has been quite scary, some of the videos that you've been seeing, and I hope that they figure out a safe way to help some of these people, and rescue some of these people and rebuild. And it's not looking too pretty. We're really waiting to see kind of how the government decides that they're going to give people money on that, because I hope they do better than they did in Hawaii when those people got hit, and the same when the people got hit by hurricanes here this past year. So let's zoom that on in on stacks. Take a look at that 15-minute to kind of see where the morning might reside before we wind the show down and say goodbye for a brief second before I see y'all in Alex O's chat. You do have the 15-minute looking pretty bearish as well. Got the rollover just like we did on Atom, as we've got that push sideways on price action. So really looking like that cool off for the morning before we kind of dip back a little bit lower here. Looking at a bit of some curvature back to the upside on our MACD here, but really seeing that same money flow coming back in on the negative on things for stacks as well. Might get that push up back to our golden pocket and our support line before really hitting that rejection though, and that's just kind of what I'd look for on stacks, as we might see a brief move to the upside on Bitcoin back to that golden pocket as well. Thank you for everyone that tuned in today. I appreciate every single one of you. And if you haven't, go check out that Markets After Dark with Lunar Beaches Crypto. He does a great job every single day. Make sure to tune in to the morning market report with OC and Piper. He's probably going to let us know how some of this data is going to impact us as we go into Friday with an open market for the TradFi side of things. You have Trade Intuition with Trade Academy at 4 p.m. And if you haven't been tuning in, or you need some help on some of your trading and what you're seeing on the charts, he's a great man to give you that information you're looking for. We do have the Crypto Nightcap at 8 p.m. Eastern Time with TradeFly and FD White. So tune into that one as well. On your way out, hit the like button if you haven't, and that subscribe button with the notification bell so you get notified to our 5 shows a day. Other than that, I hope everyone wakes up, because today's going to be a good day.